Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Gay with God podcast, a safe place for us to share our stories and support one another. How long did we know? What challenges did we face? Did we lose our faith? When did we find our way back home? Or are we still searching? The stories you hear on this podcast will melt your heart and strengthen your belief that in God, all things are possible, and you can be authentically gay with the God of your understanding. I am your host, Midge Noble, and I am very honored that you are here. Hello, everybody. This is Midge Noble, and I am the host of the Gay with God podcast and the author of Gay with God, Reclaiming My Faith, Honoring My Story. You can buy that memoir that I wrote either on the show page notes in the links below if you're listening on the show page, or you can get it from my website, gaywithgod.com, and there you will be able to get a signed copy of the memoir. So the title of this episode today is When Your Get Up and Go is Gone. How many of you guys are feeling that right now, that no matter how much sleep you get, no matter what you've done during the day or how little you've done, every morning you wake up and you just don't have it? You just don't. It's, you want to lay in bed, you're trying to lay in bed, you might not be able to sleep, but you're definitely not resting, and you're just exhausted. Your brain is tired, your body is tired, your plans for the day seem like they're so exhaustive and that you'll never get through it. And perhaps you're even feeling as if no matter how much sleep you get, you just have not been asleep at all. You wake up feeling just as exhausted. So I want to offer a prayer today out of the book Irreverent Prayers by Elizabeth Felicetti and Samantha Vincent Alexander, and they have a prayer in here for energy. In Matthew 11:28 it says, "Come to me, all you that are weary and carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." Now, we've probably all heard that. If you've spent any time in church, we've heard about that passage in Matthew. And today they offer this prayer for energy. Jesus, who promised rest to the weary, I don't understand my lack of energy, my fatigue. Rest does not change anything. I need to be enlivened. Maybe. Or maybe I just need more sleep. Maybe I need an outdoor walk, time in the sun. But I'm exhausted, and I just want rest, which makes me feel burdened with guilt. Everyone wants me to be better, and I feel too tired to want anything. Please help. Amen. So there's a lot going on in that little prayer. So the fatigue and the not understanding our lack of energy. When we think about everything that's going on in the world, and we've talked about late breaking news like every other second, and then having the burden of checking the late breaking news to see, is it really news, or is it fake news, or is it, some kind of exploitive thing? There is so much that our brains are taking in these days. Not only do we have our own lives separate from the politics and separate from all of the drama and the worry of war and everything else that's going on with the gas prices and all these things. Now we have to worry about, did I check the right site to see if I'm sending out fake news myself? Or did this really happen? Do I really need to be afraid of that? Is this something I need to attend to? So just in me talking about that, I'm tired. And I'm sure you are too. So we have to wonder, why would we then feel guilty for being tired? Why do we sometimes give ourselves a hard time because we don't have the energy to engage, to be social, to be all the things? And we watch other people do it. We watch other people go on trips and they're, doing all sorts of things. And some of us, I'm not saying all of us, but some of us are just exhausted. So how do we release the guilt about that is one of the things I want to talk about today. So releasing the guilt about that is to give yourself permission to just be where you are. You can't wake up feeling rested if you don't. And so that falls under a category of our own mental health and not a choice. Mental health means that we are putting out into the world how we're really doing on the inside. And I'm not talking about, a mental health disorder, but I'm talking about our own mental wellness, whether or not we have energy, we have joy, we have, purpose. All of those things make up our mental health, among many other things. So when you wake up exhausted after maybe many hours of sleep, then your mental health is telling you that you're burdened, that you're carrying a lot, that you've taken in a lot, and the energy around you may be more negative than it used to be, and you're absorbing that. People who identify empathic personality is that it's almost like your heart is wide open, like the zipper can't close anymore. It's just wide open, and you're taking in all the pain, all the drama, all the hurt of the world. And that can create a lot of tension and fatigue and exhaustion. So if you are a very empathic person, and you may even say, I'm an empath, well, saying that I am absolutely makes it true. And so we do need to watch the language we use. I'm not saying you're not empathic. I'm also empathic. Um, I'm just saying that when we claim I am, which is who God said that he is, I am who I am. So those are creation words, and we've got to be very careful. If I wake up and say, I am tired, I am sick, I am lonely, I'm angry, then I'm almost manifesting experiences to come into my life that will match what I say that I am. So that's why we don't beat ourselves up emotionally. We don't talk about ourselves in a negative way, because if you say, I am ugly, I am whatever, it, you are creating that for yourself. Not that you will turn ugly, but you will see yourself that way, and you are inviting other experiences or feedback to match what you believe about yourself. So we just want to be careful about our language. If, though, you have been aware for a very long time that you have a very empathic response to things and you feel very deeply about things, then that's a time for you to figure out how to zip that lining of your heart up a little bit. So, when I was doing a lot of energy work back before I came back to church full time, I learned how to zip up my energy field. The solar plexus, like the middle part of your body, is a portal for all feelings and all energy. So if you're feeling extremely exhausted when you wake up in the morning, being able to give yourself some mantras about energy and feeling excited for the day, and I am full of energy today, I am full of peace, I am full of joy. And even if you're not feeling those things at this moment, saying those mantras before your feet even touch the ground is a good way to start the energy flowing in a different direction. I am excited about the day. I'm ready for a new adventure. I'm ready, whatever you want to say to invoke a better feeling around you and in you. And then before you get up and enter the world, basically, whether it's your family waiting for you or if you're going out the door to go see someone else, you literally pretend that you have a zipper sweater on, and you're zipping that sweater up all the way to your neck, from the base of your body all the way up. And that closes that energetic space. Now, you might call that woo woo. I don't really care what you call it. But I would encourage you to try it, because there are a lot of things that I think that there's wisdom in energy that we are taught is demonic, and it's not, and it's worth a try. So say your mantras, I am, and put positive things behind that. You may want to write down a few, because in the morning you're not going to remember what to say. So go ahead and write down some really positive, uplifting, energetic mantras. I am happy. I am loved. I am ready for the day. I am excited about a new opportunity that might come my way. I am love in action. I am a child of God. I am loved by God. All of those things that can build energy inside of you are worthy to try. So, being an empathic person gives you an edge because you can see pain that you may be able to change. So, you might see somebody who's extremely sad and you give them a smile and say, I really, I love that color on you, or just smiling at somebody, even if you don't know what to say, just smiling at somebody, nodding at them, and going about your day. If someone drops something, you pick it up and you say, Here, let me help you. And you do something that takes energy, but yet it doesn't feel like energy, because when you help another person, that blesses them and you're blessing yourself as well because you've done something positive. So finding opportunities to be able to show love, and that always energizes us. Now, you're still the same tired, exhausted person that we just prayed about. And you are shifting the energy incrementally in specific moments. It may be that because the news stresses you out so much that you need to just stop watching. I promise you that you'll find sound bites somewhere else. And, a dear friend of mine takes the whole weekend off social media, and that's really brilliant. I'm not that brave. I always want to keep my pulse on the information, but I may do that at some point. I have taken moments off of social media. I've taken like a day or so, and or I might take what I call a weekend, but it's never as pristine as not looking at all. I may check messages, because I'm a coach, and so I may check messages and that kind of thing, but I'm not going to dwell on it, and I'm not going to continue to scroll, as they say, doom scroll, all day long. I take breaks, and I don't continue to do it if I start to feel really laden down. So, checking your energy, making sure that you're protecting your energy, and then doing things that come naturally to people like us that love people and really want to be around people. We really do feed off of each other. And so, allowing yourself to go ahead and do the things that you would normally do if you had a lot of energy, like picking up something that someone drops or smiling at someone, not big earth-shattering things, but things that feed your heart and it's going to feed somebody else's. And just look for those opportunities to do those things for yourself and for others. When we are mentally tired, it is not the same thing as physically tired. Now, I work out in the yard and I get physically tired, but I also get energized by doing certain things outside. But if that's not your thing, find things that do energize you. Do you love playing the piano, or do you love reading, just nonsensical books, nothing that's really heavy or drawn out, just, fun books? Do that. But you say to me, but Midge, I'm so exhausted I can't concentrate. I can't even read, and I used to read all the time. I can't read because I'm just so physically tired. And I totally, totally get that. I had all these great plans while I was out sick with my intestinal stuff, that I was going to write a sermon every single week and put it in my, you know, folder of sermons to rely on later. And I felt so bad physically that I could not. I could not focus. I couldn't read. I couldn't, listen to things very long. I was just, my gut was so off. And, if your gut's off, your whole body's off. And I was just not able to do any of that. And I still have trouble focusing and trying to attend to something that's really heavy. Um, and so if you aren't able to concentrate and you can't enjoy the things that you used to enjoy, I really appreciate some of these apps on your phone that talk about, Buddha messages, or that Calm app that gives you mantras and some kind of music that's calming. Those types of things are worth trying as well, because when you're able to hear affirmations and you're able to click in to that kind of energy force, it's really helpful. Sometimes I will just sit in meditation and I'll put on a meditative track, a soundtrack that I just find on Google. I just put in the words whatever I want, and music choices will come up. And sometimes just being able to feel that vibration in that music can calm me, and it can also energize me in a different way. So find something that you can physically connect to that's going to increase your energy while also bringing you peace. And that may be two separate things. Sometimes it's both, but sometimes it's separate. So just for you, do you need mantras being said to you to build you up, or would you find that annoying? And maybe it's just, calming meditative music that will put you in that zone. And sometimes there's frequency uh, music that can energize you from the frequency of the tones in the music. And that would be worth checking out as well. The next thing I want to reinforce, which we talked about a little bit earlier, is stop the guilt. Just stop it. Guilt is so highly overrated because it's supposed to be there. We were taught in, our religious trauma classes that, guilt is just a given. If you're Christian, you will be guilty because you're a sinner. So that's where it got rooted in, that we need to feel guilty for absolutely everything and everybody and all the wrong in the world. And that's not true. So when the guilt thing comes up, you need to just give yourself permission and grace to say, I am guilt free. I am guilt free. Because in this moment that we live in, we are not toxic. We are probably agents of change that are exhausted because we're hitting a brick wall every single day when we try to either uplift people or talk to people. And so in this world, um, in order to get our get up and go back, we need to release the thing that's hanging around our neck and just let that go. We are not the creator of all these bad things. We are the light energy workers that are getting dimmer because we just keep giving it out instead of replenishing our own light. So we work on and invite light back into our lives, whether that's comedies, energetic music, meditation, walking outside in the sunshine where we can get that good vitamin D stuff going, putting yourself in opportunities even when you don't feel like it, offering hope, offering a smile, offering assistance, and that builds you up too. And you'll start to see that probably you're a magnet then for people also entering your life that has a higher vibration themselves. When we are vibrating at a very low frequency, it is hard to invite better frequencies into our life. And so it's it's kind of sad in a way, but it's also good that when you recognize that people that used to, come around and used to enjoy a lot, and they've stopped coming, it's probably not them. It is probably the energy that you're attracting. You're attracting less energetic people because you can't match that energy. So it's really important to remember that who we are is what we attract. What we think is what we attract. What we say is what we attract. The law of attraction, I do believe, really works. And it's not has anything to do with prayer or anything like that. But I do think that we are magnetic expressions, and we will attract who we are and what we're feeling. Similar to that old example is, if you want a car and you start thinking about the car you want, then you attract it. You see it everywhere. And that may just be that you have a keener aware. Maybe they were already there, but I don't believe so. I believe that we start attracting what we're focusing on. And so we need to focus on how this world can be and how this world is in small pockets of places that never get the news. That's what you have to remember, that the news is only there to show you the drama. Every once in a while you might get a happy gram story, but it's not. It's all about the drama and the doomsday stuff. And so you need to look for the good news. You need to look for what's going right in your community, what's going right around the world, who are the light workers that still have energy and they're going out and doing really amazing things. Keep track of all the blue wave that's happening out there. Sorry if you're not a blue wave person, but but look at the people who are winning different elections over the people who want to keep us in a state of fear and drama. There are a lot of good people that are candidates that are winning in their communities, and we're getting, people that are getting into office that really need to be there, who can fight back against all the tyranny that is happening in this world today. So there are good moments. There are things that we can really latch onto and know that this too shall pass. And even if our energy doesn't come up a lot, if it continues to incrementally come up, you're incrementally attracting better things into your life, and your heart is beginning to heal. So if you are exhausted and you don't know what to do, all you have to do is say, I am worthy to see good things. I am worthy to see good things. I am ready to see good things. I am ready to be happy. I am ready to be energetic. So Jesus, who promised rest to the weary, I don't understand my lack of energy, my fatigue. Rest does not change anything. I need to be enlivened. Maybe? Or maybe I just need more sleep. Maybe I need outdoor walks, time in the sun. But I'm exhausted, and I just want rest, which makes me feel burdened with guilt. Everyone wants me to be better, and I feel too tired to want anything. Please help. Amen. Jesus, who promised that he would always be with me, I now understand that I can choose to have more energy. I know that I can change. I am a light worker. I am enlivened. I am able to rest when I sleep. I can go outside and spend time in the sun. I might take a nap there. I might just sit and smile at the birds. I may feel burdened, and yet I choose to not feel guilty. I am guilt-free. I am getting better. I am finding joy. Thank you. Amen. Thank you, everybody, for listening, sharing, and subscribing to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And if you go to empoweredmidge.podbean.com, you can find more information about me and how to connect with me. And if you're interested in getting into a coaching relationship with me, you can find a link on the show page at empoweredmidge.podbean.com that will give you a free and confidential session just for us to get to know each other. Check out our Facebook group, Gay with God, where we do a monthly group entitled My Faith Journey. If you need support to help you through your coming out and or faith journey, go to the show page at empoweredmidge.podbean.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom and see how you can connect with me. If you are listening to this podcast and are questioning whether you can be gay and be in a relationship with the God of your understanding, if you identify as LGBTQIA+, or not even sure if you're gay, God has always been within you. Even when you didn't know it, you have always been gay with God. Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned to see how you can join the Gay with God community. And as always, you are loved. I want to invite you to become a part of the Gay with God community. How can you do that? Stay connected by messaging me your thoughts and comments in the comment section under the downloads of the show on the Gay with God show page. Subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen and share so we can increase our community outreach and be a light to those who are struggling to claim their faith. Consider being a sponsor so I can highlight your service in our community. We are all worthy of respect and a relationship with the God of our understanding. I want to thank you in advance for supporting this podcast. Together, we as a community will keep this show visible and our community stronger. Deep gratitude to my friend Tim McClendon of Tim McClendon Music for allowing me to use an excerpt from Interlude 4, a song found on his CD entitled Sundance.